Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you for being here with us tonight. You literally could be anywhere else in the world doing anything else, but instead you are eating your dinner and watching us on your television, your cell phone, your iPad, your laptop, or your PC. Regardless, we want to say thank you. We have a very special night for you all tonight. Our special guest for tonight is we have the assessor of Cook County, Fritz Kaegi. Let's give him a round of applause. And then we have I'm gonna get an applause sound, I promise. And then we have assessor Willie Jones here tonight as well from Bremen Township. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for taking time out of your super busy schedule. We have a lot to cover today, so I just want to jump. There you go. We have a lot to cover today, so I just want to jump right in. Assessor Jones, talk to us, sir. How are you feeling tonight?
I am feeling great. This is a great day. We've been busy all day today, and so to have the assessor come out today, we're very grateful to have you guys to put on the show for the residents of Bremen Township. So it's been a good day, and I really and I look forward to this evening as well.
Super awesome. Yeah, no. Thank you for being here. You could have said no, So thank you. Okay. Assessor, how are you doing tonight, sir? Are you good?
Things are good. I think I'm probably like all of you out there at home. It's right around dinner time. If you have kids, it's kind of a crazy time of the day. I just got done dropping my son off at something. My wife's in the kitchen after a day of teaching. We got 3 kids Zooming, so situation normal. In the land of COVID, but we're feeling blessed here, and we're happy to be with you tonight. If you hear my dog barking or doorbell ring or phone ring, I hope you'll understand. But it's great to be here with Township Assessor Willie Jones. You in Bremen Township, you're very lucky to have a Township Assessor. The people who live in the city of Chicago don't have Township Assessors, and they work for you for free. They're your representative. We'll be talking more about the appeals deadline coming up on Thursday. And just a reminder, you don't have to hire a lawyer. We'll show you how to do this all yourself. But if you need help, your township's assessor is there for you, and we're really glad to have his good offices available tonight. And we'll tell you about how things are going. Now, the way we organize this, there we go. We got some thunder. The way we organize this is, first of all, I try to give you a high-level view of how the whole property tax system works, give you some takeaway knowledge on that. Our system's very complex. I don't expect you to understand all of it, but I wanted to leave you some things showing how we're one part of a larger system and talk to you about some fundamental problems that you probably might know a little bit about, but we can tell you some more with our property tax system. Then my teammate Nicole will tell you about how we came up with assessments in Bremen. Looking at market data, give you a sense of where we saw sales and trends happening, what's going on in your neighborhood. This is always an interesting part for folks like to see what's going on around them, how we came up with the numbers, what goes into the cooking. And then the last part, Hector will tell you about how if you think your assessment's inaccurate, if you're not being treated fairly, if something's wrong in the way we came up with the assessment, how you can appeal it. And we'll give you step-by-step process, looking at, with the video, the whole soup to nuts process. And if you still have any questions, the funnest part will be Q&A, and then we'll just go right into that. So if there's one thing I could leave you with tonight is to just make you aware of how the property tax system works. And there are really 2 pieces that you need to know. At the assessor's office, we estimate the value of everyone's property, whether it's your single-family home or commercial property or an apartment building. It's our job to do that. But we don't set the taxes. And this is something I wanted to tell you a little bit about. So your schools that serve your community, your local village, your local park district and library, all the local services that you get, in addition to the services you get from the county, They operate based on a levy. And when I came into this job, I realized that a lot of people didn't know what a levy was. A levy is an amount of dollars that your community services need to provide you with. And 2/3 of the levies are generally for schools. And these levies end up becoming your property taxes. And I live in Oak Park. All of our taxing bodies, they have about $200 million that we need to raise each year. And that's what makes our schools go. And that's how we get our public services. The assessor doesn't determine any of that. That's determined by all those the taxing bodies that you sometimes see when you vote, either for your school district or for your village or for your other services. And they come up with that levy based on the needs that you have, and based on, once they get a certain amount of revenues, they compare it with their budget. Basically, the property tax levy is the source of last resort once if they don't have enough sales taxes or other sorts of revenue or support from the state to cover their costs. And so that's not something we determine. Now, what you do is you take a levy, and how do you divide it amongst all the people in the community? Well, that's where the assessed values come in, because the assessment on your home does not exist in isolation. Your share of assessed value in your community is your share of the levy that has to be paid. So the way the property tax rate is calculated in your community is, levy that determines how much money has to be raised by your taxing bodies, divided by all the assessed values that we come up with at the assessor's office. And so the key thing to know and how you should evaluate us is, are you being assessed fairly, and is everyone else being assessed fairly too? Because our assessments are interconnected. Your share of the levy depends not only on your assessment, but how other people are assessed too. And we've worked real hard to try to make sure that we're doing right not only by you, but by everyone, because that is our job, and that's what you should expect out of us. What you should know is that we are assessing the south suburbs this year. We're almost finishing up. You're one of the last towns that's still open. We reassessed the north suburbs last year. This was the first part of the county that we assessed in our administration, and as Nicole will tell you, we'll reassess the city of Chicago next year. The trends that we have in each community are all different. Every community has different circumstances, but I think one of the things that we saw in the north suburbs last year that we're seeing in the south suburbs this year is that commercial properties are growing in share of assessed value as we've calculated them. So residential homeowners are put together, all have a slightly smaller share of the pie, and commercial has a slightly larger share of the pie. One of the things that we did this year is that we're one of the first assessment districts in the nation to include the effect of COVID in our assessments this year. We thought it was the right thing to do when the governor and the president declared it a natural disaster area in our state. We can take that into account when we do assessments. If we didn't do anything, there'd only be a small group of people using the appeals process claiming the impact of COVID. And so we thought it was appropriate for everyone to have that be taken into account. So our assessments, as we sent them out, include the effect of COVID. And we think that's doing right by homeowners and small business owners in your community and other communities, because it's reflecting as best as we could estimate the devastating impact of COVID. We know COVID has led to real economic distress, and it's an epic unemployment, very difficult on people's finances. It's affected some folks in a very concentrated way. Anyone who works in the service industries or has to be there in person, there's lots of unemployment. Small businesses that depend on foot traffic or personal presence are shut and under very high pressure. And so we've tried to take this into account in the effect of real estate values, because it does affect real estate values. And that's doing our job of making sure that we're being fair for every single kind of property owner, and that we've captured all of the elements of what's going on in the market in an accurate way. We're not showing bias towards one group because, as I mentioned, assessments are interdependent. So if we give favorable or biased treatment to one group, that affects everyone else. So we need to make sure that we're assessing everyone accurately. Now, one of the commonplace observations of COVID is that it's shown disparities in a really stark way that were pre-existing, but it's only revealed an even more stark highlight how the disparities that we see in our economy, in our communities, in our housing markets, and that is all very true. And I think one of the things that we've also seen, based on studies that we've released to the public, is that disparities in our property tax system, some of them come from gaps in our data. When we don't have good data about large commercial properties, that can help to contribute to some of those properties being underassessed. And then that means the small businesses, small commercial properties, and homeowners are picking up the tabs for them. In a similar way, there are data gaps on small properties that seem to lead to them being overassessed. We don't have the full information on how much less profitable they are than is indicated in our data. So we need better data to close the disparities in our property tax system. So we have been working with your local representatives to get a bill passed, the data modernization bill, in our General Assembly that would help us close these gaps that create some of the disparities in our property tax system. With the support of your representatives, it passed by a bipartisan supermajority out of the Senate last year. We have many co-sponsors in the House, including Assistant Majority Leader Will Davis, who comes from the South Suburbs, and some of his district is in your community. And we also are really pleased that we have so many co-sponsors that this bill is ready to pass once it hits the floor. And we will be working very hard in the General Assembly to do this. This is how we deliver on property tax reform and close some of the disparities that we know have been in our property tax system for too long. The last thing that I wanted to mention before we hand it off to my colleague Nicole is that, I talked about how your taxing districts, they tell us what kind of levy they need, and then that determines the rate that faces you. We should not assume that this is a given. Our state puts more of the obligation on funding our schools on local property owners than any other state in the United States. And that creates very high rates in communities that don't have a lot of real estate value in them. This is why the rates that we see in a lot of South suburban communities are some of the highest in the nation, because they have to cover all the costs or so much of the costs of educating children. The state is providing only about 25% of the cost of school district education, and that's dead last in the United States. It's closer to 50% in most other states. And the other thing that really galls me is that the federal government has completely abdicated on helping out districts too. It's declining as a share of school district spending. It's been declining for decades. It's only about 7% in Illinois that's covered by the federal government. There's something called Title I that the federal government can use that can also help to take off the burden of property taxes from us. If the federal government just doubled what it spends on Title I, it spends about $15 billion on Title I, that could lead to a more than 10% decline in school levies in some South suburban communities. And your Congresswoman, Robin Kelly, has been a great leader on this. We all need to raise our voices on this because there's no part of the United States that needs Title I more than the South suburbs. We should raise our voices. The federal government has been spending lots of money on all sorts of different programs. $15 billion is, they eat that for a few minutes for breakfast. It's not a lot of money, but it would make a big difference for all of us in the South suburbs. So I've raised my voice on that, writing in the Chicago Tribune, speaking on this, and I want to continue to speak it because I don't think it's getting enough attention. Okay, so before I hand off to Nicole, I just want to give you a couple reminders. Remember that the appeals deadline is coming up this Thursday on the 22nd. So we're here to help you tonight. Your township assessor is here. We do have an office in Markham that can also help. If you have any last minute questions, you'll get great service there. We worked hard with your representatives of the state to get past last year automatic renewal of the senior exemption. As many of you know, it had been an annual ritual in our state for over a decade for seniors to get their senior exemption renewed every year. And it affected people like my dad, who's one of the cheapest guys around. But when you have things going on in your life, sometimes you forget to do it. It's an imposition. And this is something that we all should expect from our government to serve us. So we got that passed. We worked really hard. And this is the first year that senior exemptions automatically renew. If you're just turning 65, you still have to apply to get it on there. But once it's on there, it will automatically renew. That's how we're serving you and other seniors. Imagine if we didn't have this in place with conditions of COVID, we'd have tens of thousands of people coming to our office, paper that could have virus on it, all the other troubles going on in our life. This saves one of those troubles. So we're happy to do it. Lastly, you can make an appointment to speak with someone in our office on our website at www.cookcountyassessor.com/APPT. And that can give you an appointment if you need additional service from us. We're happy to serve you. And so I've gone on too long. We'd like to make this interactive. So I'd like to hand it off to Nicole, and she'll talk about some numbers that we have going on in Bremen Township.
Wonderful, thank you. And as always, feel free to just jump in with any question you have as I talk about this. And for everyone watching at home, if you type your neighborhood code into the chat, if we have time, once we get done with this part, we'll actually bring up some information about your specific neighborhood. If you don't know your neighborhood code, it's on your reassessment notice that our office mailed to you, and you can also find it online. It's also on this little picture here. All right, Bremen, here we go. You can find even more information than I'm going to show you tonight. You just go to cookcountyassessor.com, and in that yellow banner that says Township's open for appeal, just click on Bremen, and you'll find everything that I'm going to show you and more. So first, I wanted to actually talk about something that Fritz mentioned, which is this kind of difference between your home's assessed value and your property tax bill. Cook County is a little bit weird because what can actually happen is your home can increase in value, but your property tax bill can actually go down. And that's because, as Assessor Kaegi mentioned, the property tax rate doesn't just depend on how much money our schools and community health centers need. It also depends on the community of properties and their property values. So when communities get larger, property tax rates can go down. I'll prove it to you. So this is a PIN, and the PIN number is right down there, so you can fact check.
And a PIN is assessor talk for a property.
Yeah, sorry, I forget that it's not just you and Willie here. So this is an example home, and it's up in the north suburbs. So under Assessor Kaegi, the Cook County Assessor's Office reassessed townships in the north suburbs last year in 2019. And then what we can do is we can actually look at what happened from 2018 to 2019. And for this particular home, its property value increased. So our office, took a look at that home, used data and real estate market to say, hey, we think your property value has increased. But we can also look at its tax bill, and its tax bills from these tax years actually went down. So that homeowner had their home's value go up, but the tax bill went down. And that's because that tax rate changed. We actually see this pattern in a lot of places in the north suburbs. So it's just kind of this weird thing in Cook County where an increase in one property's assessment doesn't necessarily mean your tax bill will go up. And it's because of that community effect in the way that property tax rates are calculated. So as Assessor Kaegi mentioned, it's not just about your property. You have to kind of know what's going on in the rest of your area. Okay.
And this is why we like to do events like this, because we can show you the full picture and you can understand it better.
Yeah, exactly. Reassessments are every 3 years. So the Cook County Assessor's Office last reassessed Bremen Township fully in 2017. And then we've done it again in 2020. So each time that happens, so there's a 3-year gap between when our office is able to kind of readjust properties' assessed values in your communities to follow the market. And just as a side note, a 2020 assessment, so that assessment notice that you get in the mail this year, won't affect your tax bill that you receive until next summer. It's just because of the way the Cook County's property tax system works. we wait for municipalities to submit their budgets, and then the property tax rate is calculated by the Cook County clerk. So there's this huge lag between the system. Okay, what is our office's purpose? Our goal is to produce a reasonable range, or produce an estimate of your home's market value in 2020 within a pretty reasonable range. So if you see that number, you look at it and be like, yeah, that's within 10% of what I would expect. Kind of same idea as, Zillow or Redfin. So our office is all about getting this number right. And what we hope is that we did a pretty good job for most of you in Bremen Township. I want to talk about some real estate trends. This is my favorite part. First, I'll talk about some sale prices. So in Bremen Township, I think we saw about 4-ish% of properties sold in any given year. And what our office has seen over the last couple of years is that over time, the median or the average sale prices of homes in Bremen Township have actually gone up by about 26% over the last 3 years.
And an important thing to note there is that this chart cuts off at the end of 2019.
Yes, that's a very important thing to note, because that is the data that we used and the only data that we have access to before we start to estimate your home's value in 2020. All right, so those are sale prices. That's reality, right? That's what actually went on in Bremen Township's real estate market. Now, every individual home's different, and actually even every neighborhood's different. But now we can talk about the assessor's estimated market values for all of the homes. Remember, our job is to estimate market values of homes for all properties, not just the ones that sold. So we can look at that trend over time too. And what we've actually found here is that over time, there's actually been a decrease in median estimated values. So on average, for some homeowners, they might actually see a lower number on that reassessment notice in 2020 than they did in 2017 when their home last got reassessed.
Now, Nicole, why would these charts look a little different? Can you explain that to the folks watching at home?
He says as if he don't know the answer.
You explain it so well, you do it better than I do.
No, this is great. So in 2017, so I should circle so in it. Yeah, there we go. 2017 was when our office last reassessed properties in Bremen. And remember, we use, the office typically uses the last couple of years of sales. So in 2017, they probably used sales going right up until 2016. But let's look at what actually happened in the real estate market in 2016. Sorry, I was supposed to be circling the green one there. By comparing the kind of average, what happened in reality, the real estate market, to the estimates of values, you might notice that these aren't super close to each other. And they might not necessarily be equal to each other, right? Every home is different. There might be differences between each home that sold and the homes, other homes. But, 2017 looks a little high to me. The other difference is what's happening in 2020. So in a typical year, in typical 2020, we could use sales going right up until 2019 to estimate a property value, because typically 2020 in January looks kind of like most of 2019. And typically in 2020, most of 2020 looks like January, but that hasn't been the case this year. So one of the reasons why our office's estimates of home value in 2020 might not look identical to what we see in the real estate market is because we've also implemented these COVID adjustments. And the short version of this is our office estimated unemployment, increases unemployment in every neighborhood throughout Cook County. And some neighborhoods were estimated to have higher increases in unemployment, and other neighborhoods slightly less. But we found that that COVID-19 is having effects everywhere.
And this really goes to when we look at disparate impacts in neighborhoods, we looked at the structure of employment to see where unemployment would particularly hit hard in certain industries, like I mentioned at the start. Like think about retail and service and people who are doing work in kinds of industries where people have been laid off.
Yes, we looked at some neighborhoods will be home to homeowners who are more likely to work in certain hard hit industries than others. So that's the exact kind of data that we use to estimate this. And then we basically use that to produce adjustments to estimated values of homes. Historically, last time there was a huge real estate or a huge global financial crisis in 2008, unemployment went up and home values went down. So we thought it would be reasonable to kind of implement that same logic here.
And we actually also, there are portfolios of single family homes that trade in the market every day. And these are actually the largest owners of single family homes in the Chicago area. And we looked at the prices of these two to gauge the effect of COVID as well. So we looked at several different data points.
So on the Cook County Assessor's website, you can actually find a whole bunch of neighborhood data about every neighborhood in Bremen. And I just kind of picked out two right here. Even though these two are kind of, close to each other, we find that every neighborhood's different. Bremen's home to a pretty diverse housing stock, and that produces differences in estimated value. So overall, some neighborhoods might see increases and overall some might see decreases. We do our best to just kind of follow the reality of the real estate market in your area. And I want to end with a note that fairness is for all property owners. And that includes commercial property owners too. And we've found that in the Bremen reassessment that there's been a lot of nice stable growth over the last 3 years in Bremen, especially for commercial and retail. So that's going to increase the assessed values of these properties as well. And it's important that we're fair and accurate in our valuations of all of the properties in your area. Because again, if your neighbor's slice of that tax bill pie is too small, then everyone else's is too big. So it's important that we have to be fair and accurate for everyone. So it's our hope that this number that we mailed to you is, a pretty reasonable estimate of your home's market value in 2020. If you think it isn't, then you should absolutely file an appeal, and Hector will tell you how to do that. But just bear in mind that our office takes our duty to fairness and accuracy very seriously. So if your assessed value is too low, then all your neighbors' tax bill is too high. So that's why it's important to us to get this right off the bat, but to also get it right on appeal too. And with that, I will hand it off to Hector if you think you want to file an appeal.
Take it away, Hector.
First, thank you so much. I want to just give a quick reminder to everyone watching on Facebook, on YouTube, and anywhere else is being shared to please follow, please like, please subscribe, guys. The more you guys do this, the more people we have watching these videos, the higher it will move up on Facebook's algorithm. That way, more people have the ability to connect with this kind of information. We can share it all we want, but you guys have more fans than we do. So go ahead and share that for us. Also, if you are here, we are going to do a Q&A at the very end of this presentation. So please, guys, if you have a question, just go ahead and write it in the comment section. Our team is here tonight answering those questions, and we will answer those questions out aloud as well. But enough about that. Let's get into why you guys are here today. Building a better assessor's office. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're here for. I'm assuming if you're here tonight, you're not here just because you like hanging out with us, right? You're here because you want to learn something, so that's what we're going to do. So let me make sure this is working correctly. Beautiful. All right. So what you see in front of you are two different kinds of notices. The first one is black and gray, or black and white, however you want to call it. Has a picture of your home in the top right-hand corner, and it is your reassessment notice. This is not a bill. This is not a bill. This does have important information. It does have your PIN number, which is just assessor jargon for where you live at. It identifies your home. It's a 14-digit number, typically ending in 4 zeros if you're a house, and if you're a condo, it ends in 4 other numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4. We also have the township you live in, the neighborhood code. That's what Nicole was talking about earlier that you live in. Your construction type, your property class, your property age, all of that fun stuff, the details. And then underneath there, we have a section that kind of lets you know what your home was worth previously and what it is worth now. Now, at the very bottom of that, don't freak out because this is just a sample, just an example. We have the deadline. So if you're trying to figure out what your deadline is, we're going to put it up on the screen in a second. But notice also now on the right-hand side of this reassessment notice is a tax bill. This is issued by the Cook County Treasurer's Office. You get 2 of these a year. You get a blue one in February, which is 55% of the previous. It does not have any exemptions on it, no discounts, nothing like that. But then this yellow one does have some important information that I want to walk you through right now. So earlier when the assessor was talking, and he kept using the word tax levy, you might be saying, well, what does that mean? What is that? Guys, those are just different taxing bodies in your specific township. There are 38 different townships. There are 38 of them, which means there's 38 different little functions or different variations of what I'm about to tell you right now. If you look, these are the different taxing bodies in this specific township. What do we have? We have miscellaneous taxes. We have school taxes, which the assessor just talked about. We have township taxes. We have county taxes. And if you look, everything's itemized, right? You can actually see to the penny where your money's actually going. If we look at 2019 and 2018, you can also see if there was an increase or not. Sometimes there is an increase, sometimes there is not. This information is given or is decided upon by the taxing bodies in your area. So the school districts in your area, the police departments in your area, the village townships in your area, road and construction and bridges and buildings and mosquito abatement, which I don't even know what that is, but because we still have mosquitoes, but park districts, things like that. These are different things that are being funded by your tax dollars. The other part of your tax bill I want you to focus on, or I would like for you to understand, is the tax calculator, which is found at the bottom left-hand corner of your tax bill. This lets you know what the assessed value of your home was last year, what the assessed value of your home was this year, what your state equalizer is. The state equalizer is what takes care of is decided upon by the Department of Revenue. They come together and say, how can we make Cook County equal with all the other counties in Illinois? This number, this state equalizer changes every single year. This number is also uniform or covers everyone in Cook County. So it doesn't matter if you live in the northern townships, southern townships, the city portion, everybody has the exact same state equalizer. Now we have a township tax rate. This changes every single year. This is what covers the tax levies that the assessor was talking about earlier, right? There are 38 different townships. Each township has its own unique tax rate. Some townships have multiple tax rate depending on the size of the township. So just keep that in mind as well. On the right-hand side of this tax calculator, this is where your discounts would be. Your homeowner exemption, your senior freeze, disabled person, returning veteran, disabled veteran, all of that would be listed right here. I want to give a big shout out to Nicole. You just heard from her. She has the ability and the unique skill set to say things that are kind of confusing and make them super simple. This is one of those things that we're talking about. Every 3 years, property gets reassessed. We know that already, but we're just reiterating, right? So in 2020, everything in the yellow is being reassessed. Everything in the yellow is the southern portion of the county, the southern townships. Next year, this baby blue portion is going to be reassessed. That's the city portion of the county. And then the year after that is the dark blue portion, which is the northern part of the county. Now, you received a reassessment notice. What's next, right? That's what we're here for, guys. Well, let's be honest. Look at your reassessment notice. Could you sell your home for the amount of money that's listed on your reassessment notice? If the answer is yes, then you probably don't want to be appealing, right? Because you do agree that you could sell your home for that amount, or your property, sorry, for that amount of money, right? Now, if you're looking at your reassessment notice and you're like, I don't think so, I think you guys got it wrong, then you're definitely in the right place tonight. If you disagree with your estimated fair market value, then you can absolutely appeal, but you must have a reason why you want to appeal, right? Guys, I've done this for 10 years, and I can tell you that we always get people that say, well, I'm appealing because my alderman told me to, or I'm appealing because my friend told me to, or I saw it on Facebook, or you need to have a reason. I'm going to go over those reasons with you in a second, but there has to be a reason why you want to appeal. Once you appeal, our analyst will then review your evidence and then decide if there's going to be a decrease or a no change. If you're interested in filing an appeal, but you have to go, you can't hang out with us for the rest of the night, I'm going to leave this on the screen for a couple of seconds. Go ahead and take a screenshot, take a picture. CookCountyAssessor.com/online-appeals with an S. Using that address, you can go to our online appeal portal. They will guide you on how to fill out your appeal. From there, you can start your appeal, draft your appeal, revise your appeal, save your appeal. But once you hit submit, your appeal is submitted. So we encourage everyone to take a second before you click the submit button and just make sure you have everything you want to submit. We're going to talk about all of the supporting documents one could submit if they wanted to, but we're not there yet. Lastly, appeals are free, guys. I saw something on the internet the other day where people were saying, hey, I heard we can go to the assessor's office, but they're going to charge us. That is not true, guys. I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it for free, right? Can you hire an attorney? Absolutely. Do you need an attorney? Absolutely not. There's no magic code or no special relationship that anyone has that is going to give you a better result than what we're doing right now. So I'm a visual learner. That means I learn by watching, right? Some people are different. They learn by hearing or listening or whatever. Nope, not me. I have to see it. So I'm going to walk you through how to file an appeal. We're going to go to CookCountyAssessor.com. We're going to hover over the appeals section tab, and then we're going to click there and then click online appeals. From there, there's another visual that our office makes to kind of help people that are like me. But if you like to read and learn, go ahead and check out the information underneath the video. At the bottom of that list, there's a launch online appeal portal. Guys, go ahead and click on there. You're going to need to make an account. It's super easy, super fast. I did mine from my cell phone. You can do it off of a cell phone, an iPad, a laptop, a PC, whatever you want, but you have to create an account first. Once you create your account, you're going to be transferred over, or I don't even know how to transition that. But once you create an account, this is where you're going to be at, right? You're going to get a screen that says, what kind of appeal do you want to file? A residential or condo co-op? If you have a home, a residential property, you're going to click residential. If you have a condominium, then you're going to click condo. So now, once you get into the system, this is the first screen you're going to see. All we want to know is your information, right? Your PIN number, your address, your city, your zip code, and your property class. Super easy. Next, we want to know, are you appealing for this year only, or are you appealing for previous years as well? Because there was a factual error. That's called a certificate of error when we're talking about appeals, right? What are factual errors? Factual errors, right? Things that are facts. For example, you were assessing me incorrectly for the last 3 years based on the wrong square footage. Or you guys keep saying that I'm a condo, but I'm really a single family home, right? There's a factual error in the assessment, which then resulted in a tax bill. If that is the case, then you want to make sure you check the years that you are trying to get back. We also want to know, are you a prorated property? What does that mean? That means you have more than one PIN number. Well, how do I know if I have more than one PIN number? Super simple. How many tax bills do you get a year? If you get 2, one in February, one in July, then you're good. You're not prorated. If you get 3, 4, 5, then you're definitely prorated. You want to make sure you give us all of the PIN numbers that are associated with the main PIN or the primary PIN that you're appealing on. The next screen is the filer, right? We just want to know who you are. Very simple. So go ahead and click the drop box and let us know if you're the taxpayer, the owner, the executor, the former taxpayer responsible for the taxes, the tenant. Only you know the answer to this. Once you fill out that information, just go ahead and give us the other information we're asking for. Your address, the city, your phone number, the state, the zip code, your email address, all of that fun information. Now, earlier we talked about factual errors, right? Like, hey guys, you were assessing me incorrectly. You're saying I'm a 3-story building when really I'm a single-story building. Or hey guys, you're saying I have 6 units, but I really only have 2, right? Those are property characteristic changes or errors in your property characteristics. This is where you would change that. Super simple. You just hover over whatever you want to change and either click or delete and retype. Super easy. Now, earlier we talked about why one would appeal, right? And you need to have a reason why you're appealing. Here are the reasons. I'm going to go over this with you. Most taxpayers choose more than one option as long as they apply to the reason why they are appealing. So the first one is lack of uniformity or comparables. That is super simple. That means Nicole and I live on the same block, house built by the same person, same size, same color, same everything. But for whatever reason, Nicole's value is less than mine, which probably means my tax bill is greater than hers. And I want to know why my property is not uniform or compared to the other comparables around me. Most taxpayers choose lack of uniformity, right? The next one is overvaluation. I'm going to assume that's everybody in here. There's no way my house is worth this much. If my house was worth this much, I would sell it to you right now. These are real comments that we receive every day, by the way. So if that's you, just go ahead and click overvaluation. The next one, vacancy occupancy. This means you have an empty property. If you have an empty property, you just have to prove it. How do you prove it? Real simple. Just by taking a picture, right? I'm going to show you how to upload these things from your phone as well, or from your laptop or your iPad or whatever you're using. Fire damage. Fire damage is self-explanatory. If there's a fire, we just need to know, right? We need the police reports, fire reports, the insurance claims, the estimates, pictures, everything that came with that situation we're going to need. The next one is property description error. That's kind of what we were just talking about. The characteristic changes, which are on this slide, just things that are incorrect, and you want us to double check our work. The next one is building is uninhabitable. That means you physically cannot live there. It does not mean that your kitchen is too small, that you don't have a walk-in closet, that your husband still lives there. No, it means you physically cannot live there, right? The next one is building no longer exists, self-explanatory. If there's no building, just prove it by showing us pictures or demolition permits or demo permits or something like that. The next one is other. Other's a little bit different, and tonight's actually a great night to talk about it because it's lightning and thundering right out my window. Let's say lightning strikes, hits a tree in front of your house, and the tree falls on your house and smashes your whole first floor. That is not covered by lack of uniformity, overvaluation, vacancy, fire damage, right? So other is just another way to let us know, hey guys, there's a different reason from the ones that are here of why I am appealing. We have something cool on our appeals that other agencies don't. It kind of makes us stand out. We have the field check request. Now you might be saying, what the heck is that? Let me explain. Field check is just saying, hey guys, I would like someone from the office, the field department, to actually come out, redraw, remeasure my property. Excuse me. If that is the case, just click the drop down box. I'm gonna get that right one day, and check yes, and then just let us know what the issue is. Right now, when you do this, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. Somebody from our office is going to show up and redraw and remeasure your property. You don't have to make an appointment with us. We don't have to make an appointment with you. We're just gonna do our job. And If you see people outside your house with drawing pads or iPads or something, don't freak out. Just say, hey guys, are you guys from the county? Yes, we are. Can I see some ID, please? Real simple. We all carry our county issued IDs. This is no problem for us at all. Now here is where you would upload, documentation if you have some, right? You can upload plat of surveys here, appeal narratives here, appraisals here, pictures here, anything that's we have different formats that are allowed, right? So anything that's a Word document, an Excel spreadsheet, a PDF, a picture, a PNG, which is a transparent picture. I would just encourage you to pay attention to what you're uploading and where you're uploading it to. You don't really have to focus on the titles of these uploads, and there's more too. I wanted to fit them all on one page, or as many as I could on one page. What you wanna focus on is the file types allowed and the maximum size and the maximum documents allowed that are allowed to be attached. That's what you want to remember. That's what you want to focus on. So like some attachments you can only do 5 megabytes, others you can do 25. Some allow you to do Word documents, others allow you to do Excel spreadsheets. So just pay attention to that kind of stuff. Next, we just want to know, we want to make sure you know what you're doing, right? So this is our legal statement. You would just read it. Please be advised that once you click submit, you will not be able to make changes or add additional documents to this filing. Go ahead and fill out your information. Give us your name, your phone number, your email address, and then click submit. Now, when you click submit, you can get a big pop-up that says, are you sure you want to submit? Guys, this is where you want to double check your work, because once you click submit, your appeal is submitted. There is no turning back. There is no editing. There is no adding on. That is not what we do here, okay? So you just want to make sure whatever you're submitting, when you are completely done and satisfied, then you submit the filing. Once you submit the filing, you'll get a confirmation page. It'll say confirmation on it. It'll say, thank you. Your request has been successfully submitted. You will receive a filing ID number. This is very important, right? Now, we get this question every day. Hey, guys, I filed my appeal. I have my filing ID, but I did not get a confirmation email. Are you going to receive a confirmation email? Yes, but a lot later in time. This is your confirmation. Once you have this, you are good. You are golden. You are solid. You don't have to worry about anything. So now let me stop sharing my screen. And now it's time for the Q&As, my favorite time of the night. We're going to have some special guests with us tonight to answer these questions. Assessor Fritz Kaegi, Bremen Township Assessor Willie Jones. We have our team in the back picking out the different questions that they want us to ask or want us to answer, sorry. So let's get it in, guys.
And we'll be tag teaming here, I'm sure. So what do we got? Okay,
and we have Nicole.
Drum roll, 260. What do we got?
All right, so here's how to find this data for folks watching at home. So you go to cookcountyassessor.com, and you see where it says Bremen here. There's a whole bunch of different reports down here. You just have to scroll down a little bit. Kind of a little snapshot. There's a full residential report, some of which I showed. And then here is the interactive map. And then, so we're looking for neighborhood 260, is that right?
Yeah, 260.
All right, that is in the kind of south and west side, I think. Yeah. All right, so you'll just hover right over that.
It's right there at the bottom, yeah.
Cool. So some information about neighborhood 260. We like to tell people kind of the most common property type there. So there, the most common property class of single family homes is 1 story. It's between 1,000 to 1,800 square foot. We like to tell you about the kind of number of properties, and we also tell you some sale information. So in 2019, the median sale price of a home that sold there was about $101,000. And then in 2020, the median estimated value of a home there was about $94,000. So, again, these aren't necessarily going to be spot on because every home's different, right? But you can find information about all this just right here on our website.
And there were a fair amount of sales there that gives us a lot of information to work with.
Yeah, seems like a nice, good, healthy, growing neighborhood.
Lynn says the assessor's website is not finding my PIN when I have, in fact, in the past, done appeals online. How do I get around this, please? You guys do you want to tackle this one, or I can take it?
Hector, why don't you take it away here? Because I bet you can blast out this one.
For sure. There are a couple of different things you can do, but the easiest thing for you to do is just contact us directly, right? So you can send us you can inbox us on Instagram. You can DM us on Twitter or Facebook. I said that backwards. You can inbox us on Facebook or DM us on Twitter and Instagram with your address, and we can go ahead and find that PIN for you. You can send us an email through the Cook County Assessor's website, or you can just call us directly, and we can figure that out for you. If you're having a hard time finding your PIN, I would also just double check that I'm putting in the PIN correctly. Just look at your tax bill or look at the reassessment notice we just sent you. It's at the very top. It's 14 digits long, or it's at the very bottom. But either way, we can find this for you. You can send us a message right now with your address, and then somebody will definitely respond with that information for you.
And Hector, some people might not be as familiar with the technology as we all are. What number should everyone call if they're having trouble and they need to call by phone?
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to put it up on the screen right now. Just kidding. No, I'm not. 312-443-7550. But I thought we had it on here. But yeah, you can definitely contact our office directly. I'm going to pull it right off of our website, actually, cookcountyassessor.com. And while we do that, of course, thunder and lightning are interfering.
I've got it too in my neighborhood too.
Yeah, this is wonderful. I'm glad my job doesn't depend on me having to be online. Oh, wait, it does.
Well, everyone is putting up with the strange circumstances that we're in as best as possible.
Yeah.
So be patient with us. But one of the things we're glad is that we put in call center technology at the start of this year, and we could do it virtually at home. So we have people to answer you if you've had trouble calling us in the past, long wait times. We think you've really improved our service time. Give us a try.
For sure. And again, that number is 312-443-7550. Shayla says, do I have to file an appeal on the Cook County Assessor website and on the Cook County Board of Review website, or which one is best? Excellent question. Assessor, why don't you go ahead and take this one over for us?
Well, the first thing is we're still open in Bremen, so you have a chance to appeal with our team right now, and we're ready to serve you. We have our office in Markham that's ready to serve you, where people can help you. We have really helpful staff right here with us tonight, and we mentioned all the different ways that you can get help. And then if you still don't like what we're coming up with, you have the Board of Review, you have something called PTAB, you have circuit court, you have multiple different avenues if, as a circuit breaker if we're still not getting it right.
For sure. Next question. Connie says, I have 2 PIN numbers and I want to know, excellent question, if I can consolidate multiple PINs to one. I have one for my property and the other for my parking space. Thank you. Yeah, so you can do a couple different things. This is just a matter of opinion, right? It all depends on what your end goal is. So some people love to consolidate, other people love to divide. At the end of the day, it's just up to you. What do you want to do? Can you consolidate PIN numbers? Absolutely. We do that in our divisions department. You would contact our office, and then we would send you the application. The cutoff, there is a cutoff date. I just don't know it by heart. But regardless, we have people there who can help you guys. It's super simple. You can just contact us directly, send us a direct message or an inbox or something like that. We'll definitely be able to take care of this for you.
Yeah, this is a common thing that we do. Lots of folks in Bremen and other parts of the south suburbs do have 2 parcel numbers.
Mm-hmm. The one thing though, some people believe if you consolidate it, your bill gets smaller. That is not the case. You still pay the same amount. It's just less paperwork.
Doesn't change. Yep.
Siobhan says my code is 50, so I'm assuming she means her neighborhood code.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this, Nicole.
All right. I am ready. If someone could add my screen back in. All right, so neighborhood 50, you live up in kind of the northeastern side of Bremen Township. Yeah, 203, same most common kind of property class. What you probably want is that sale information. So kind of in that bottom third, we see the median sale price in 2019. Of 48 sales, their median sale price was about $121,000. So a little bit higher than the other neighborhood we looked at. And the median estimated value of a home there in 2020 was about $110,000.
And you can see that there were still a decent amount of sales, about 50 sales in 2018 and in 2019 each year. And so that's how those sales are the raw material for how we come up with our valuation. Yep.
And I should mention that we exclude sales that, we think aren't, market transactions. So, yep. All right, keep it coming.
How can we find our neighbor's tax information
this is fun.
With ours? This is a YouTube comment, so this is worth 10 points. Who wants to tackle this bad boy?
How about you do it, Nicole, because you're so good with the data tools. You've got multiple different ways to do this.
All right, sounds good. Easiest way is to go, if you just search for Cook Viewer. This is a map created by Cook County. And it's of the entire county. So when you go there, you'll have to hit this little accept button, say you know what you're doing. And then you can just type in, these pins that we keep talking about, or just the address of a property. So
the address is pretty good. When I use this and I click address, it fills it in for you.
I like address.
Yeah, it's pretty smart. Yeah. And actually, so this is cool. This is actually, earlier when I showed that tax bill comparison, I actually used Cook Viewer to find that information. All right, so I just picked an address at random. So you click on that building, and you can see a little picture of it. You can compare this property. This is actually the tool we recommend to compare this property to others. But on the left side here, you can scroll down and launch the property portal. That'll bring up another website where you can compare things like the assessed value history by clicking over here. And you can scroll way on down to find Cook County Treasurer's tax bill information. So it'll pull tax bills and exemptions. So if you want actual property tax bills, that information comes from the treasurer, and it's also linked here.
Awesome. Angela says, attic is unfinished, not able to be used, and no stairway. I left area blank, didn't click on any option. Is this correct? On next page where it says no to field check, it reverts to say yes, saying I changed something in my previous page. My property has always listed 2 full bath. This site said I have one full and one half. So I changed that to 2 full. Is that the issue driving the yes to field check? We're gonna have to look at that. Let's do this, Angela. Why don't you inbox us a telephone number so that we can contact you? That way we can look at this better instead of in the next 60 seconds before we have to get off of this this Facebook Live. So go ahead and inbox us, and we'll definitely take care of that. Siobhan says my property has 2 pins. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Angela, seriously, make sure you inbox us so we can tackle that for you. Siobhan says, my property has 2 pins. How is my tax bill and value calculated? That's a different kind of question. It all depends on what kind of property you have, where your property is located, what the second pin is, the size of the different pins. So for that, you'd have to give us more information as well. But basically, residential properties assessed at 10%. Commercial property assessed at 25%. So it all just depends on what kind of property you're talking about.
And if it's, as the situation commonly is in the south suburbs, a house with maybe a garage on a separate pin, and we bundle them. We bundle them together when we evaluate them in our model, so that we're treating everyone on an apples for apples basis.
Lynn says, I'm putting in the correct pin. I have my tax bill in front of me, and I verified it by phone today. Don't worry about that, Lynn. Go ahead and inbox us, and we'll definitely take care of you.
All right, so we're going to kind of wrap things up, but we'll keep answering in the chat. Assessor Jones, we'd love to hear any final thoughts. If you want to tell us how folks how to get in touch with you and your team, so we can receive assistance.
Yes. First, I want to thank Assessor Kaegi for taking the time out and being with us today, and for the residents of Bremen Township. Our office is open, and we are still taking appeals in the office from 9 to 5. We are working by appointments, and that's the address and the phone number is listed below. Please keep in mind that the deadline is the 22nd, the cutoff date for appeals. We are cutting our time off at 1 p.m. on that day, because we have to process all the data we have to get and make sure we get it into the county's assessor's office system on time. So please give us a call if we have any questions for you. We have plenty of people on staff to help you. File your appeal in person. You have to have an appointment in our office. We're working by appointments only because of COVID. So again, 708-333-1591, option 2 is our phone number. We are located at 163-61 Kaegi Parkway, with a small building between Markham Courthouse and Markham City Hall. Thank you again for the staff at the Cook County Assessor's Office for this wonderful event today. And thank you very much. And that's it.
Thank you, Assessor Jones, and everybody watching. It's a pleasure to serve you. We all enjoy serving you, and let us show you what we got. We've been working real hard at it. Just wanted to quickly say we got a couple events coming up tomorrow, October 21st at 5:30 p.m. We'll be speaking and doing an event like this with the mayors of Robbins, Mayor Ward, and Markham, Mayor Agpawa, and Country Club Hills, Mayor Ford. And then Thursday at 6:30 p.m. We'll be with Mayor of Richton Park, Mayor Reinbold, via Zoom. These are all via Zoom, so we can be safe and care about each other, keep each other safe. Please, you can register on our Facebook page in the event section for these. And with that, why don't we enjoy the company of our family and get back to real life.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for being here tonight. You guys have a great night. Please share this, tag somebody, tell somebody, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody, guys. We love you guys. Have a great night. You guys be safe, be wise, and above all else, be blessed. Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, Assessor Jones.
Thank you.